Dear students, I do think so you have followed my earlier two lectures. So we are moving today the lecture number 3 about the sexual or the gametic reproduction. So what is sexual or the gametic reproduction? I do think so you know it very well. It involves the formation of the gametes. So in this type of reproduction, what is coming? There is a formation and the fusion of the sex cells called the gametes. Development of an organism from the zygote through embryo formation is called the embryogenesis. So it is the basic knowledge of the sexual or the gametic reproduction. Okay. So all organisms have to reach a certain stage of growth and maturity in their life before they can reproduce sexually. This period of growth is known as the juvenile phase. It is called the vegetative phase in the plants. Reproductive phase starts after the end of the juvenile phase or the vegetative phase. So what are the characteristics of this one? So primarily we all know that it involves the formation of the gametes, development of the organisms from the zygote is known as the embryogenesis. Just right now I have told you. So it involves two parents. That is, this is biparental. Asexual reproduction, I do think so you have all remembered it was uniparental. It is biparental. It involves formation and the fusion of what? Of gametes or gametic nuclei. It involves meiosis during what? During gametogenesis, that is formation of the gametes, and mitotic division is followed during the formation of the zygote. Daughters are genetically different from the parents as variations appear due to combination of genes during crossing over. So what is this one related to this crossing over? How these two words are related? As you all know, during meiosis in prophase 1, in a Pachytene stage, what happens? A leptotene, first one is in the prophase 1, that is the first stage is the leptotene, zygotene, then it is coming Pachytene. Pachytene, what happens in Pachytene stage? Two chromosomal arms of two non-sister chromatids exchange. They exchange themselves the chromosomal arms. There is the exchange of the chromosomal arms between two non-sister chromatids, which results in the exchange of genetic materials among themselves. This leads to the new combination of the genes, and new combination of genes results into the variation in the organisms. Again I am repeating. So in the Pachytene stage of the meiosis 1 of prophase 1, what happens? Crossing over takes place. In crossing over, what happens? There is an exchange of arms. Exchange of arms means exchange of arms between two non-sister chromatids. This leads to the new combination of genes. As the chromosomal arms are getting exchanged between two non-sister chromatids, so there is a new combination of genes takes place, which results in the variation among the organisms, and it involves a slow multiplication. There are also some points which I don't think so you need it so here. That unit of reproduction are the haploid gametes. Is it found in the higher plants and animals? There are so many examples of it, and it is also called germinal reproduction, as now the new organisms are produced from the germinal cells of the parent. So types of sexual reproduction. Types of sexual reproduction is the syngamy and the conjugation. Syngamy, what does it mean? It is also called fertilization. It involves the complete and permanent fusion of two haploid gametes to form a diploid zygote. And conjugation, it involves temporary pairing of two parents called conjugates to exchange their male pronucleus. Am I clear? You followed it? It is also called the fertilization. This is syngamy. Syngamy, it involves the complete and permanent fusion of two haploid gametes to form a diploid zygote, and conjugation, it involves the temporary pairing of two parents called conjugates to exchange their male pronuclei. That is paramation. I am covering the details of the syngamy. Okay. So what we are talking about? We were talking about the syngamy. So what I was telling you, that it is also called the fertilization. It involves the complete and permanent fusion of two haploid gametes to form a diploid zygote, and it is the most common method of sexual reproduction. Now, gametes involved are of two types. You all know what type of gametes we are having. We are having two types of gametes. One is the sperm and another is the ovum. Sperm is also known as the microgamete. It is minute, microscopic and motile gamete formed by the spermatogenesis in the reproductive organ called testes. When we will go further to the next other chapters, you will all come to know about this one, when the human reproduction will come. Ovum, also called macrogamete, is large, spherical and non-motile and is formed by oogenesis in reproductive organ called ovary. All these are things there in the human reproduction chapter, but for the introduction in during the syngamy, I am telling you the brief, at least brief. Both types of reproductive organs as testes and ovaries are collectively called the gonads. When two types of gonads are present in separate parents, then these are called the unisexual or the dioecious. Example, you can take it of many invertebrates and all vertebrates. But when two types of gonads are found in the same organism, then it is called the bisexual or the monoecious or the hermaphrodite. Example, what you can tell as earthworm, Taenia solium, fasciola, leech. Now, types of syngamy on the basis of source of fusing gametes. First one is the endogamy, that is self-fertilization. It involves the fusion of two types of gametes derived from the same parent, that is uniparental. Example, Taenia solium. This one is very rare. This endogamy, it is actually very rare. Now, exogamy, that is cord fertilization, when two fusing gametes are derived from different parents. Okay, and that is biparental. Example, cockroach, frog, human beings, and it is more common. Now, on the basis of structure of fusing gametes, what we can say? We are having isogamy, anisogamy and hologamy. When two fusing gametes are morphologically as well as physiologically similar to each other. Example, monocystis, it is a protozoa. Such gametes are called the isogametes. Anisogamy, when two fusing gametes are morphologically and physiologically different from each other. Example, this one. And hologamy, when two organisms themselves act as gametes. Themselves even act as gametes, then this is called the hologamy. Example, we are taking of the yeast. Okay. Now, word is there, that is the senescence. So, we will now discuss about the word senescence. Now, about the senescence. What is senescence? The latter part of the development process which leads to the maturity of the ultimate complete loss of organization and function is termed as senescence. Now, the end of reproductive phase can be considered as the one of the parameters of the senescence or the old age. Aging, what is aging? Aging is the sum total of changes in total plant or its constituents, while senescence represents the degenerative and irreversible changes in the organisms. So, in annual and biennial plants, vegetative, reproductive and senescent phases can be easily identified. But to distinguish such phases in the perennial plants seem to be little difficult. If lapse of time is a criteria of aging, then annual rings formation occurring in such plants can tell us the age of the plants. Trees do not show the process of physiological degeneration. In trees, some parts die and some new appear. Okay. So, there are several theories have been put forth regarding the senescence. Some important are given below. One is what? One is that loss of metabolism. it is assumed that senescence leads to the gradual depletion of essential metabolites in a cell. Wear and tear, according to this theory, senescence occurs due to the loss of activity and cells undergo wear and tear due to degeneration of the organelles. Toxicity, senescence takes place due to accumulation of toxins and deleterious substances in a cell, and genetic damage, mutated genes may be responsible for the deleterious effect at specific age in a plant. Now we will move to the events involved in sexual reproduction. Number 1 is gametogenesis. Number 2 is gamete transfer. Number 3 is fertilization. Which is also known as syngamy. Just I have told you before it. Okay, so let me start from this gametogenesis. I am just right now will tell about this first process, that is the gametogenesis. So you have all gone through these things which I have made you understand. If you have any problem regarding any of my lectures or any of my notes, do comment me. And if you like my way of teaching, then you just like it, share it, and obviously subscribe my channel. So it will be more beneficial. You will get more benefits from me. I will give you more lectures, more notes, more everything, more revision of the lessons, and obviously uncountable practice test materials for you. Okay. So it's now coming the events involved in sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction basically involves the four stages which I have told you earlier, that is the gametogenesis, gametic transfer, and the fertilization, that is the syngamy. These three are actually the pre-fertilization stages. Now first one is the gametogenesis. Gametogenesis involves the formation of the haploid gametes from diploid gametogonia by meiosis. Okay, you know it very well from class 11 only. In gonads, example is the spermatogenesis in the testes and oogenesis in the ovary. Now actually male gametes and female gametes are always haploid. Gametes are always haploid. Male gametes, female gametes, whatever may be, are always haploid. They may appear from haploid or diploid parent body. In haploid organism, what happens? Gametes are formed by mitosis. Their examples are Monera, algae, fungi, and bryophytes. Plant body is haploid. In such cases, meiosis occurs after fertilization to make the organisms haploid, and that is called the zygotic meiosis. Pteridophytes or the spermatophytes, that is the gymnosperms and angiosperms, are the majority of the animals like human beings bear diploid parental body. Here meiosis occurs at the time of gametogenesis, that is gamete formation. Cells undergoing meiosis to form haploid gametes are called as meiocytes. Due to meiosis, every gamete gets only one set of chromosomes. Diploid chromosomes number in elephant is 56. Thus, chromosome number in haploid gametes will be 28. Similarly, butterfly has diploid chromosomes number of 380, while gametes having the chromosomes of 190 haploid. Now, gamete transfer. For fertilization, we need two gametes come together for the fusion. Now, usually in most organisms, what happens? Male gametes is motile and the female gametes are non-motile. However, in many algae and fungi, both the gametes can be motile. Water is required for the movements of the male gametes in simple plants of algae, bryophytes, and pteridophytes. Many male gametes may not be able to reach to the female gamete. To compensate this loss, several male gametes are produced as compared to female gametes formed. And in seed plants, what happens? Pollen grains are the carriers of the male gametes, and ovule bears the egg. You know it. For the formation of the seeds, pollen grains produced in the anther must be transformed to the stigma of the carpel. This process is called the pollination. Pollen grains germinate on the stigma, and pollen tubes carrying the male gametes reach the ovule and discharge the male gametes near the egg. Okay, so there are two types of pollination. One is the self-pollination, one is the cross-pollination. So self-pollination, what is self-pollination? Which takes place within the same plant. Cross-pollination, it takes place between two flowers of different plants of the same species. Pollination can be takes place by insects, which is known as entomophily, by wind, anemophily, and by water, that is hydrophily. In insect pollination, what happens? When insect visits a flower for nectar, that is honey, the pollen grains get deposited on the body of the insect. When this insect visits another flower, the some of the pollen grains get stick to the stigma of another flower. This leads to the process of the pollination. And in the wind pollination, what happens? Wind pollinated flowers are small in size. No nectar or honey or scent is produced in wind pollinated flowers. In this case, pollen grains are produced in large quantity. Water pollinated flowers are small and inconspicuous. Pollen grains are produced in large quantity. Male and female flowers are born on the separate plants, that is, plants are dioecious. In dioecious animals, male and female gametes are formed in different individuals. Organisms usually bear a specific method of gamete transfer. So finally, the most important part will be coming, that is the fertilization. So I will be now telling you about this fertilization. Fertilization is known as the syngamy. So it involves what? It involves the formation, the fusion of the haploid gametes, that is the sperm and ovum, to form the diploid, that is the 2-end zygote. Zygote undergoes what? Further development by mitosis to form diploid offsprings. If there is no mitotic divisions to form the diploid offsprings, zygote undergoes further development by mitotic divisions to form the diploid offsprings. If there is no meiosis during gametogenesis, then the gametes will be diploid and the individual produced will be tetraploid. But when gametic meiosis is not followed by fertilization, then the individual formed will remain as haploid. So meiosis and fertilization are two important processes involved in sexual reproduction, which collectively maintain the chromosome number constant from generation to generation. You have read it in class 11 also, this one. Because of proper embryonic care and protection, the chances of survival of the young ones is greater in viviparous organisms. In angiosperm, what happens? After syngamy, diploid zygote is formed inside the ovule, which forms the embryo. Ovules with embryo develop into seeds. The ovary forms fruit. Wall of fruit is known as what? Pericarp. And the fruit bears seed. After proper dispersal, seeds remain. After proper dispersal, the seeds germinate to produce new plants. After fertilization, sepals, petals and stamens of flowers wither and fall. Pistils remain attached. However, in fruits of tomato and brinjal, sepals remain attached even after fertilization and became the part of the fruit. Okay. So, if I compare the blastogenesis and the embryogenesis, what I will get? Blastogenesis is the development of an organism from an asexual reproduction unit called blastose, like a body fragment or a bud, to death. It does not involve the formation of an embryo. And embryogenesis is what? It is the development of an organism from the fusion of the sexual reproductive units called the gametes to death and involves the formation of an embryo stage in the development. Okay, so finally we are coming to the parthenogenesis. So the students, I do think so you have followed my lectures. If you are having any problem, so let's comment me so that I can clear your doubts. And if you want the notes, you have to knock it for you will have to tell me for that one. And if you like my lectures, then you like it, share it, and obviously subscribe it. Okay, the primary is that you have to subscribe it first, otherwise you will not get the full benefit of the lectures. So now it is coming the parthenogenesis. Okay, now we are talking about the parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis is the development of an unfertilized ovum. Unfertilized means it has not involved the it has not gone to the process of the fertilization. So it is unfertilized ovum. So it will obviously form a haploid organism. So it is monoparental. And where we can find it? We find it in rotifers, wasps, honeybees, etc. There are two types of parthenogenesis. One is the natural and another is the artificial. In natural parthenogenesis, what happens? The parthenogenesis is a regular and characteristic feature of the life cycle of certain insects like honeybee. Here, in this type, what happens? The adult and the fertile queen produces two types of eggs. One is a fertilized egg developed either in queen, which is the fertile female, and or into workers, which is the sterile female. The unfertilized eggs developed into drones parthenogenetically. So the drones are the haploid ones. Drones form gametes by mitosis and not by meiosis. And artificial or the induced parthenogenesis means what you know. In this type of parthenogenesis, the eggs of some normally sexually reproducing animals can be induced by artificial means to develop parthenogenetically. The stimuli inducing artificial parthenogenesis are chemicals like salts, weak acids, organic solvents like chloroform, urea, sucrose, and stimuli like temperature, electric shock, or mere shaking, and needles smeared with blood and saline solution. Now the advantages of this one: avoid the wastage of germplasm as sperm and ovum, no chance of separation of useful combination of genes, the offsprings are exactly similar to the parents. And disadvantages, it stops the chances of new combination of genes. Obviously, if there is no fertilization, there is no exchange of anything, so there will be no new combination of any genes will come, and thus avoids selection in the population. So it decreases the chance of adaptability. So all we know that if you have to survive in the nature, we have to adapt in the environment. So it decreases the chances of adaptability, that is that leads to the extinction. Now lastly, I like to mention about the word that is sexual dimorphism. Sexual dimorphism in human beings, like most of the mammals, are unisexual or dioecious. Each human being has only either male or female gonads, reproductive ducts, and accessory genital structures. Out of these reproductive structures, gonads, that is testes in male and ovaries in female, are called the primary sex organs and produces the gametes and the sex hormones. All other genital structures are collectively called the secondary sex organs. These include epididymis, vas deferens, prostate, seminal vesicles, and penis in male, and the fallopian tubes, uterus, vagina, and the mammary gland in the females. You will all come to know about all these things in the next chapter when the human reproductive part will come. Two sexes are also different in the certain external morphological features, that is called the secondary or the asexual sexual characters, and this phenomena is known as the sexual dimorphism. Okay, so up till this today, hope you have enjoyed my lecture. So if you cannot follow any one of the portion of my lecture, so write it in the comment box, and if you like my lecture, then obviously you like it, share it, and obviously subscribe it. Subscription is the main thing. You have to subscribe it, otherwise you will not get the full benefit of the lectures. Okay, so that's all for today. Stay safe and God bless you all. Thank you.